Hello, my name is Philip Rouleau with Rultract, and I'm going to go over the basic setup instructions for the Rultract retractor system.
The Rultract retractor consists of four major components. First, there is the ratchet assembly, which is used to elevate the sternum. Next, we have the extender bar, which is used to allow the ratchet assembly to be placed over the center of the patient's chest. The top post is used to support the extender bar and the ratchet assembly and attaches to the bottom post clamp. The bottom post clamp is used to attach the retractor system to the operating room table bed rail.
When you are ready to attach the Rultract clamp to the bed rail, turn the knob counterclockwise all the way until it stops. This will be sure that the clamp jaws are open all the way. Check for free movement of the jaws by squeezing them together and then releasing. Before attaching the clamp to the bed rail, check for any possible obstruction along the rail. A very important point to consider when attaching the Rultract table clamp to the bed rail is the location of the bolts or spacers that hold the rail to the OR table. The clamp is designed with a notch in it that's designed to go around the spacers or bolts. So ideally, when you put the clamp into place, you'd like to clamp over and around one of these spacers. You can also clamp in between the bolts or the spacers. What you want to avoid is clamping onto a bolt or spacer. If you do this, you could see that the clamp is now cocked to one side or the other because it's hitting the bolt or the spacer. So you have to find the location of those bolts or spacers and place your clamp in between them or around them. Hold the clamp by the upper and lower jaw and slightly tilt the upper jaw inward toward the table. Place the upper jaw over the rail. Again, remember, you're going to try to go around one of these spacers or in between them. So we're going to go here or completely around a spacer. In this case, I'll go in between the spacers. Now you're going to squeeze the jaws together, noting the location of my thumb and the handle. If your thumb gets too close, your glove will get stuck here, so give yourself some room. Squeeze them together, tighten the handle. Do not tighten the jaws together with the handle. They will not squeeze uniformly over the rail. You want to squeeze the jaws together, turn the handle. Once the clamp is securely into place, you can grab the post or the body of the clamp and try to move it. It should not move if it's clamped securely to the bed rail. If there is movement in the clamp, you'll need to loosen the jaws, check for obstructions, reposition, squeeze the jaws together, tighten the knob. Check again for movement. In this case, this clamp is securely attached to the table. Once the post clamp has been securely fastened to the operating table, the next piece that you'll take from the tray will be the top post. Hold the top post vertically with the top perpendicular to the operating table. Place the sleeved end of the top post over the spline section of the bottom post. Allow the top post to slide downward until the two pieces connect securely. A slight rotation might be necessary to allow the two pieces to connect. When the top post is properly seated, it will not rotate. If for some reason when you put the post on the table, it's not angled directly out over the patient, you can lift the post and change your angle. It angles in 18-degree increments. It doesn't have to come all the way off. You lift it about an inch, you can turn it, slightly rotate it, make sure it's properly seated, and now you're ready to attach the extender bar. The extender bar has a lock knob that's designed to lock the extender bar onto the top post. Be sure to turn this knob counterclockwise all the way until it stops before placing it on the top post. You will then place the hub of the extender bar over the top post to allow you to extend out over the center of the patient's pectus deformity. Once you put the extender bar in place, turn the lock knob all the way and securely tighten it, making sure that it is not going to come off. You are now ready to attach the Rultract ratchet assembly. You are now ready to attach the Rultract ratchet assembly to the top post. When you remove the ratchet assembly from the tray, there are two very important points to note. First, be sure that the pin is inserted into this groove. Also be sure that the handle is inserted all the way into the gearbox. If the unit has not been properly assembled, what you might see is this pin sitting outside of the groove. That can cause the unit to come apart. This can be fixed in the field. In order to fix this, hold the unit securely. You'll see I'm holding the back of the handle securely around the gearbox. I'll loosen the knob. I don't take it off all the way, I just loosen it enough to where I could slide this cover back, insert it into the groove, and then while holding everything together, I hand tighten the knob securely. I then be sure that the crank handle is inserted all the way in to the gearbox. Once you are certain that the pin is inserted into the kidney groove and that the crank handle is inserted all the way into the gearbox, you are ready to attach the ratchet assembly to the extender bar. Back out or open the lock knob by turning it counterclockwise all the way until it stops. For the NUS procedure, I like to have the spool cap with the cable hanging out over the patient's chest. Slide the gearbox onto the extender bar to the desired location between the alignment marks. The top post has alignment marks and detents on the squared section for securing the gearbox to the post. Placement of the gearbox between the alignment marks locates the lock knob directly over a detent for proper tightening. Notice the position of both lock knobs when they are secured into a detent. Once the Rultract ratchet assembly is in place, you will need to lower the cable down to the patient's chest. To do so, you will reverse the ratchet lever and pull on the snap clip until the cable is completely unwound. When you are ready to remove the Rultract hook from the chest, you will need to release or reverse the ratchet. To do so, firmly grasp the crank handle and turn slightly in the direction it will move. When it is under tension, it will only move one direction. So you turn it in the direction that it will move, simultaneously shift the ratchet lever completely in the opposite direction. Do not let go of the crank handle when you do this. Once you shift the ratchet lever, you can slowly lower the sight and remove the hook from the chest. To properly disassemble the Rultract system from the OR table, please follow these instructions. Wind the cable all the way up on the gearbox. Remove the gearbox from the extender bar. Loosen the lock knob all the way by turning it counterclockwise. Slide the gearbox off of the extender bar. Hold it securely. Hand it off into a tray. Next, remove the extender bar. Turn the lock knob counterclockwise all the way until it stops. Slide the extender bar off of the top post. Hand it off into a tray. Grasp the sleeve of the top post and the squared section of the top post. Lift it up off of the bottom post and hand it off into a tray. Next, squeeze the jaws of your clamp together, and while holding them securely together, loosen the knob of the clamp. Once you loosen the knob by turning it counterclockwise all the way, wiggle it on the table and the jaws will drop open. Then remove the clamp from the table.